In this video, I will explain how to use Chairwork with someone that has experienced past emotional abuse. Let's start by looking at an example. Claire's father was emotionally cruel and abusive. Although her father died more than 10 years ago, she still thinks about the abuse on a daily basis. During one of her psychological therapy sessions, her therapist asks if she might want to talk to her father about what he did. Claire agrees. The therapist starts by moving an empty chair to face Claire. He explains the chair will represent her father. The therapist then sat to Claire's side so he can see both Claire and the empty chair. I would like you to imagine your father is sitting in that chair. When you get an image, tell me what he looks like. How old is he? What is he wearing? And what type of expression does he have? He's in his 30s, scruffy looking, and has a cold, mean facial expression. Tell him how you feel about what he did. You are an evil, sick and cruel man. I hated you when I was growing up. Take your time. Is there anything else you would like to say? You made Helen and I do everything. That started when Mum died when I was 7. Helen was only 5. You turned us both into little servants, cooking, cleaning, washing and ironing. We couldn't even grieve Mum's death. We stopped being children. You stopped being a child. Yes, you held us captive. We were not allowed to play. We often missed school because you wanted us at home to do the gardening or paint a fence, silly things. Tell him how you feel. You were not a father, you were a bully. You used to shout at Helen and I, tell us we were stupid girls and wouldn't amount to anything. You said I was the ugly one and Helen was the fat one. That was just cruel. Tell him again. You were a cruel bully. You even brought your friends to the house and had us light their cigarettes and get them a can of beer from the fridge. You told them to call us the fat one or the ugly one. I wanted to smash the beer can into your face. Tell him. I wanted to smash it in your face and down your throat. Tell him again, but louder. I wanted to smash it in your face and down your throat. The therapist is using deepening techniques. He's inviting Claire to repeat a phrase to clarify her position and heighten the emotional intensity of the encounter. The guiding principle of Chairwork is to encourage the client to give voice in a way that's clear, forceful and distinct. Asking the client to change the volume is another deepening technique. Sometimes when clients are saying something for the first time or they're breaking through a personal barrier, the therapist might ask them to say it again, but louder. I'm now going to explain how you can bring other chairs into the encounter. The therapist asks Claire about leaving home when she was 18 and she discusses the guilt at leaving Helen behind. So the therapist gets up and brings another chair over. He puts the chair a few feet in front of the pair and to the side of the father. I would like to have this chair symbolise Helen at the time you left the house. I would like you to talk to Helen about the dilemma you were facing. I'm so sorry I left you. I had to get out at the first opportunity. I'm sorry I left you with him. You had to get out. I had to get out at the first opportunity. My boyfriend asked me to live with him. I didn't want to leave, but I couldn't have taken you with me. I'm so sorry. Tell her again. I would have taken you with me if I could. If I could, I would have taken you with me. Again. I would have taken you with me if I could. I wanted to, but it was my boyfriend's flat and you were only 16. I felt so guilty that I left you. I still feel guilty. I'd like you to switch chairs and sit in Helen's chair. I'm going to ask you to speak from Helen's perspective. Is that okay? Yes, that's fine. Claire then sits in Helen's chair and a therapist stays where he is. Helen, I want to thank you for joining Claire and I today. I've been Claire's therapist for 6 months and we've been talking about the awful experiences with your father. Claire feels very guilty about leaving you behind. Would you speak to her about that? Don't feel guilty, you had to go. Could you repeat that? I think Claire really needs to hear that again. Don't feel guilty, there was nothing you could do. You did the right thing. Again. Don't feel guilty, there was nothing you could do. You did the right thing. I love you. Is there anything else you'd like to say to Claire? No, I think I've said everything. Can you come back over here, Claire? Claire moves back to the original chair. I'd like you to sit there for a moment and take in what Helen has said to you. Is there anything you'd like to say to Helen? Thank you, Helen. I feel better, much lighter, and I love you too. Is there anything else you want to say? No. Let's go back to the original chairs from the start of the session and debrief. There's an important safety issue that I want to stress. You may have noticed the dialogue from Claire to her abusive father was one way. That's intentional. Never ask the client to speak from the abuser's perspective or sit in the abuser's chair. This process is about the client having the freedom and safety to tell her story and to express her pain. Talking to an abuser can feel very scary and even threatening, so the client must feel safe. Now, there are many creative ways to use Chairwork, so if you want to take what you have learned to the next level, please view my next Chairwork video, which is on the screen now, and I look forward to seeing you soon.